Alright, welcome to the assembly tutorial. What I'm going to do is I'm going to assemble this as a Stormwolf. I might, whatever. I might show a couple of steps here that so you can magnetize things, but in general I'm not going to try to do the dual build. There's just too many complicated things there, but I'm going to try to magnetize some of the weapons options, which is just the heavy bolters here, I think. And point out some things. So what I do for each of these assembly tutorials is I clip out all the parts for each step and clean them up sort of off camera, and then show each of the assembly stages that you see in here. So let's get to that, and I'll be back with the first step. Alright, I've got all my parts cut out for step one. So the basic idea here is I'm going to be assembling the guy in the cockpit, the Iron Priest, and putting him inside the back here. And I'm going to put the las cannons in. Now, one thing you'll notice is that these go in from the back side here. So if you wanted to magnetize those, you're going to have to do a little bit of clipping along that bottom piece there. So what you probably could do is if you clipped off that bottom bit there, put a bit of plastic card, then you could make these slide in and out, and then you'd have to maybe green stuff or plastic card something here to put a magnet behind it. So I'm not going to worry about that because I'm just going to do these up as las cannons, just because. And yeah, let's get this assembled. So first thing is to put the back piece on there. Then I'm going to put together the two halves of the torso for the Iron Priest. And I get comments on some of my assembly tutorials that people get nervous the way that I use glue. You know, one of the things to note is in between shots here, the stuff does have a bit of time to dry. So just something to note. As well, I'm really careful not to get my fingers on the wet glue part. That's kind of the only key that you have to be aware of, because you might get some fingerprints using this extra thin stuff. But otherwise, once you get a good surface-to-surface contact, it's pretty much solid in there. Okay. So that's a neat head there, how all those tubes kind of connect up. I like the Iron Priest head. Okay, and see, this is going to be a bit tricky to see how this is all going to match up. I find these a little bit fidgety, so I might actually just do that off camera. Otherwise, you'll see me fumbling around. So let's glue these las cannons together. So the key with these sorts of things is to make sure that they're lined up fairly straight. Once they're glued together, you can kind of scrape the joint a bit with the edge of the knife just to help smooth that out. You can also use a bit of super glue if you want to use that as a kind of a light filler. So yeah, the key is just to make sure the barrel at least is lined up. Give it a squeeze. If there is any fingerprints, just kind of smooth them out when you have a chance. Okay, so I think just for the sake of time, I'm going to do put his arms and shoulder pads on, and then we'll come back with step two. Alright, we're on stage two, but just to look at stage one recap. So I glued the driver in there after I glued him in, put the arms on, and I pushed this up, and it just repositioned the hands just a little bit just to make sure everything kind of lined up. And glued on the two las cannons. You just have to be careful they don't sag. If you push things in to be flush at the back, these things kind of hang down a little bit, and that would look a little odd. Okay, so step two here, we've got these side panels, and all we're doing is attaching these bits along the top here. So I'm just going to try to hold that in there flush and place some glue along that bead and let that suck it in there. So you're going to want to make sure that that is a nice solid fit. So getting glue all along there, and I'm going to put a bit on the back side here. So I just want to make sure that's a nice solid, and just give it a good squeeze. Alright, and I'll do the same thing with the other side and move on to step three. Alright, here we go with step three. So first off, we're going to put this piece together here. I'm not really sure what it is, some sort of a vent type thing that goes underneath. So that goes in there. And then it's going to go on the underside here against those it's right like that. And then the last bit for this stage is just to put all these nozzles on here. So just put a bit of glue in there, and I just typically do my nozzles all facing kind of straight out. So just do that, and that's all we have to it. So that's the end of step 3. Got a couple more steps before I finish the hull, and I'll move on to the Stormwolf specific stuff. Alright, here we go with stage 4. So these are the side spawns and weapons. So what you can do is, if you wanted to magnetize them, here, I'll zoom in a touch. These are the sponsons here that are cleaned up. Here's the multi-melta. So the twin-linked heavy bolter is actually 2 separate heavy bolters that will go in there. So it's 2 separate pieces, which makes it a bit trickier to magnetize. And the missiles is just one big piece with 3 missiles attached to it. So what I would think the best option here is actually to get a piece of plastic card that fits that length, and then put magnets in there. So probably a 1/8 inch magnet would be good. You probably do it in the middle. For the heavy bolters, because it's 2 pieces, you want to glue it onto a backing first, so it's one solid piece. Otherwise you're going to have to use too many magnets, and it's too fiddly. So I'm actually not going to magnetize it. The other thing to note on these is these doors. So this is going to go on that side panel like that. You can see those little pieces fit in there. You just have to make sure that you don't flip these ones here around and get the wrong pieces. So there's an up and a down basically. You have to watch those pieces there need to match up. So if you glue this all together before you realize that, then that's going to lead to some problems. So just to make sure, these 2 little nubs here have to go on the upsides, because you can get these on the wrong side here. Left, you can get left to right mixed up. So put a bit of glue in there, and I just want to make sure this is all going to fit together nice. So I'm just going to dry fit it there, and that looks like it's going to be good. Okay, and then I'm going to glue the multi-meltas in there. I'm not going to bother magnetizing, just I don't think I need to worry about that. Not for this one here anyways. Okay, and that's the do the same thing with the opposite side, and that's step 4. Alright, here we go with the engine assembly. So I'm going to do the right one first. The left one has all the same bits, just match up the other side. So these 2 here are going to go together first. That's the first sub assembly. So a little bit of glue along there. Get some in the middle here. And along there. And I'll try to get some along the inside edge here while I'm at it. Okay, so then we put the front piece on here. Let's give that a bit of a squeeze. And that's going to go in there like that. There's a couple little notches. So let's put a bit of glue along that face. And then I'll butt those up and get some glue in there. And just putting a nice light pressure on it as I work around. There we go. Okay, and then the last bit here is to put these nozzles and that wing on. So I'm going to put the nozzles on first, and they're going to go like that. So it doesn't really matter how it goes. It's kind of symmetrical all the way around. So a bit of glue there. Big one goes on the big hole. And the little one will go on the bottom side there, or top. I'm not sure if it's bottom or top at the moment. It's not going to matter too much. Just like that. And then I will put this wing type of a thing. So that's, let's see if I orient it the same way as on here, it's going to go like that. So that edge there is going to have to be flat. So I'm going to put some glue along there, and actually along the inside of this crevice there. Make sure I got lots of glue. And that's just going to match up in there just like that. Nice good squeeze, and a bit of extra glue along the top edge. Alright, So there's my right engine. I think it's going to go like that, and that'll go on the side of the fuselage. And I'll do the other one up, and that'll be step 5 all complete. Alright, here we go with step 11. So I've already done one of the frost cannons because they're 2 identical ones. So we'll just do the other one up quickly. So 2 halves to it, and then some details that get some extra attention here. So the 2 halves just go together and put a bit of extra glue along that seam. Give a squeeze. Then the barrel here, there's a little bit of a second half there, so you get some of that detail there. Bit of extra glue. Okay, I'm just going to watch out for fingerprints there, getting a bit sloppy. Okay, so these rune pieces here just fit on the sides like that. Now there are different pieces, but I've actually no, there's just doubles of the same one, so it doesn't matter which ones you put them on. Just two pieces, and there's 2 of each of them. So there's the frost cannons, just like that. So do up 2 of the same, and then we're going to glue this piece here together. This is the kind of the holder for them. So first of all, that's going to go together, just like that. Make sure it all lines up. It's kind of odd that there's no pins or anything on that one. Just have to use the table here to make sure it's all flat and straight. And then we have a piece that goes in the center there, this little guy here, and that targeting light goes at the top, so I'll try to slide that in first. There we go, just like that. Get some glue in there. Make sure we have lots of glue around the outside here. Okay, and then this piece here, we're not going to glue these on, so these kind of just force fit in there. Nice tight fit. And then there's going to be a top piece just like the Razorback turret that'll go on there. Be interesting to see if these cannons are available for anything like the Razorback. And I'm going to make sure I put it on forwards. And there's a couple little square posts there. So we'll have to get these things aligned better. And that will go like that. Somehow. There we go. I think I don't have them quite straight. Make sure that's going to work, and then I'll put some glue in there. Okay, so get some glue, and it's going to make sure that that's all pushed in there nice and tight. And there we go, that's step 11. Okay, for step 12 we're just going to do the top assembly. So that's just, these pieces are going to connect onto the main part of the fuselage there. So this piece is going to go inside this nose bit there, so there's a ledge there for it to line up with. So it's going to fit together nicely, just like that. And then this piece here is going to go into the top of that. So let's just see how we're going to make sure that that's in there nice and snug, nice good fit. Okay, and then let's get some glue all along that joint. So this is probably going to take a little bit of holding just to make sure that everything gets bonded just perfectly. Lots of long, straight connecting pieces here, and we don't want any gaps in that when this dries. So there we go, that's going to be that, and I'm just going to hold that, make sure that these pieces here all line up. That's step 12. Okay, here we go with step 13. So there's a lot of gluing in this step. Basically, we're gluing the whole hull together. So I might have to break this up. Basically, the two sides, let's zoom out a bit here. The two sides are going to go, well, the sides and the bottom are going to go on, and this piece here goes inside here to kind of, because it keeps it all stable and it provides a bit of detail, interior detail. There's not a lot of interior detail on this kit, so this provides a little bit of it. I guess that'll go somewhere up there. Make sure I get all those bits off. and then there's also some more detail at the back. So once I get the two sides, or side and bottom on, the back will go on. So let's see if I can do that now. So pre-glue a little bit of this here. That's not going to do a whole lot, I don't think. So it's going to be tricky with this type of glue. Depending on which types of glue you like to use. If you put a bead of glue along there, let's see how's this going to match up. So it's going to be critical that I get, there we go. So that front piece just meshes in there like that. Let's get some glue in there. Lots of glue. And then make sure we get aligned all the way along this edge here. And at the back there, make sure I get that edge nicely aligned as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish gluing that together, get some elastic bands to hold it all in place once I have all four sides on, and I'll come back and show you. Okay, I'm just going to show you something here. Before you put the bottom on, I think it's a good idea to put this centerpiece. This is going to stabilize everything. So if you glue that in there, that'll make the placement of this this bottom piece much easier. Even though the instructions tell you to do it in a different order, I'm going to suggest you do it that way. So once that's in there, that'll help stabilize everything, and then you can put the back pieces on here and then the other side. Okay, we're on step 14 now, and what they're suggesting is to glue the canopy on, but I'm of course not going to do that at this point because I need to paint everything, especially inside of there. So I'm just going to leave that off. I've already sort of dry fit this piece which goes in front of the canopy, and it looks like I can glue that on and still fit the canopy on later. So if I hold that sort of in there, the canopy will kind of slot in. So I'm going to glue that in place, and that'll be that. Okay, so that's in there, and then the other bits for this step is putting the frost cannons on the back. Now I'm going to leave those unglued just to be so they can rotate and whatever and be cool like that. The other thing is the detail at the front here, so I've chosen this sort of icon to go on the front, and I'm going to glue that on later. It's got some notches there, and so I'm going to glue that on later just so I can airbrush everything on here faster, and I can paint this separately, and I think that'll be easier. I'm going to do the same thing with all of the other details for that matter. So that's it for step 14. Okay, step 15 is kind of a non-step again, just the way I'm going to be painting it. So step 15 is adding all of these bits on the sides, as well as the engine modules, and you can see that they kind of hold on themselves anyways. It's a bit of a tapered fit there. So those are going to paint separately anyways. The couple things I will glue on are these kind of stabilizer wings, which will go on like that, and there's just a bit of a connector post, so put some glue on there and make sure that it all lines up, and then a bit more glue in that seam, and then I'll do the same to the other side. This goes in here like that, and I think that's going to be it for this step. There's a bunch of other wolf icons and all that sort of thing, but I'm going to leave those off the model and save those for after I paint it, so I can glue those on with a bit of super glue. But basically we're done. We're ready to go paint it now, and so my plan is to airbrush it all, and that should speed up the process. And yeah, so basically I'll airbrush it with the base colors for Space Wolves. I'll do a little bit of dry brushing and weathering on it, and then paint all the details and glue on the canopy, and that'll be it. So be sure to check back. I'll do a tutorial of that as I do it, which might take a couple weeks from now. And yeah, check out my blog, lots of other projects on the go and stuff like that. If you have any questions, feel free to post them either on YouTube or over on Blogger, and I'll try to get right back to you. See you next time.